All right, so today we're jumping into something that a lot of people are calling the Bitcoin Renaissance. For the longest time, the story was pretty simple, right? Bitcoin is digital gold, super secure, totally decentralized, but man, is it slow. Well, that whole story, it's being completely rewritten. Let's dig into why.
So let's kick things off with this weird paradox. And honestly, if you've ever tried to use Bitcoin for something small, you've definitely felt this. You hear all this talk about it being the most secure financial network on the planet, but then you go to try and buy a coffee and, well, it takes forever and the fee costs more than the drink itself. So what gives?
Okay, and here's the big reveal. This isn't a bug. It's not a mistake or some kind of flaw. That slowness, those high fees, that's all on purpose. It is a deliberate design choice. You see, Bitcoin's main network, its core, was built for one single purpose above all else: absolute, rock-solid, uncompromising security. It just wasn't designed for your morning latte.
To really get it, we need to unpack this Bitcoin paradox. How can something be talked about as the future of finance, but at the same time feel so impractical for just everyday stuff? The answer, it turns out, is all in its foundation.
So I want you to think of Bitcoin's main blockchain, what we call Layer 1, as this ultimate, unchangeable book of records. Every single transaction has to be checked and agreed upon by this huge worldwide network of computers. And that process, it's slow on purpose. It's built to be super methodical and robust, which makes it slow. It absolutely has to be that way to make sure that once a transaction is in, it's there forever and it can't be reversed.
So you've got this super secure but slow base. What do? Well, the last thing you want to do is mess with that core layer and risk its security. No way. Instead, the really smart solution that people came up with was to build faster systems on top of it. And that, right there, is the genius of this two-layer system.
And I love this analogy because it just makes so much sense. Picture Bitcoin's Layer 1 as the Supreme Court. This is where the huge, life-changing cases get settled. It's going to be slow, it's going to be expensive, because the stakes are astronomical and every ruling is final and binding for everyone. Now, Layer 2s, those are like your local traffic courts. They're built to handle the everyday stuff. Quick, cheap, and efficient. I mean, you'd never take a parking ticket to the Supreme Court, would you? It's the exact same idea here.
Okay, so let's check out the most well-known Layer 2 out there. This is the one built specifically to fix that whole buying a coffee problem we started with. And here it is, the Lightning Network. This is literally Bitcoin's answer for making small, everyday payments actually work. It's this amazing technology built right on top of Bitcoin that lets you make payments that are basically instant and cost next to nothing.
So how does it actually work? It's pretty cool, really. Imagine two people open up a payment channel between them. That part is just one single transaction on the main Layer 1. But once that channel is open, they can send money back and forth between themselves 1,000,000 times if they want, instantly and completely off the main chain. Then, whenever they're done, they just close the channel and only the final balance sheet gets recorded back on that super secure Layer 1.
And the result of this is, well, it's huge. Because all those little back and forth transactions aren't clogging up the main network, the cost just plummets. We are literally talking about fractions of a penny to send money anywhere on Earth in a split second. This suddenly makes things like micropayments or global tipping not just a cool idea, but totally practical.
But look, making payments faster, that's just the tip of the iceberg for this renaissance. The really wild part, the part that's blowing people's minds, is how developers are now taking Bitcoin's security and using it to do things we never thought possible. It's becoming so much more than just money.
There's this whole new way of thinking about it. Instead of just seeing Bitcoin as a money ledger, people are starting to see it as the world's most secure, permanent hard drive. You can use its incredible security to lock in any kind of data forever, not just financial transactions.
And once that idea clicked, it was like the floodgates opened. Suddenly you have new protocols like Runes, which let you create all sorts of unique digital assets right on Bitcoin. And then you've got other layers like Stacks and Rootstock that are bringing over complex things like smart contracts and even the whole world of decentralized finance, or DeFi. I mean, this is stuff we used to think could only happen on other blockchains, and now it's happening with Bitcoin's security behind it. Okay, let's make this concrete with a real-world example. Take Biddy, the Bitcoin mascot. It was created on Layer 1 using that Runes protocol we just mentioned. That means its origin, its birth certificate, is permanently and securely logged on the main chain. But for day-to-day stuff, like using it in a game or an app, that can happen on a fast Layer 2. See? It gets the best of both worlds, the security of Layer 1 and the speed of Layer 2.
So, what's the big picture here? What does this all mean for the future? It means Bitcoin is finally figuring out how to grow. And it's not by messing with its secure foundation, but by building on top of it. And there's actually a perfect comparison for how this works.
Honestly, the best way to think about this is to look at the internet itself. The internet runs on this fundamental base layer called TCP/IP. It's the boring technical plumbing that makes everything work. You and I, we never interact with it directly. We use the apps built on top of it: Chrome, Netflix, Instagram. Well, Bitcoin is doing the exact same thing. Layer 1 is that rock-solid secure plumbing, and the Layer 2s are where all the cool user-friendly experiences are being built.
So what's the one thing to take away from all this? That old story, the one about Bitcoin being just slow digital gold, is completely dead. It's over. By building in these layers, Bitcoin isn't just trying to be a better version of gold anymore. It's using its unmatched security to become the base layer, the foundation, for an entirely new kind of internet built around finance. This renaissance is real, and it's happening right now, one layer at a time.